Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Murderball Breakdown. My name is Oisin McQuarrins and I'm joined as usual by Darragh Culhane. Thank you to everyone who tuned into last week's episode 3. On today's show, we're going to briefly mention a certain 3-0 loss to Liverpool. We're going to talk about a surefire win against the Magpies, fingers crossed, and Leeds' definite cup run to League Cup glory. As always, make sure you subscribe to Murderball Breakdown on Spotify, on the Breakdown Inc. channel, on YouTube as well, or wherever you get your podcasts. So, Darragh, we're going to have to start with it. I mean, we can't avoid it. It wasn't a great game against Liverpool. I think this was just a case of Liverpool being really, really good and Leeds just being not necessarily that great.
I'll be fully transparent here. Didn't really get to watch the game a whole lot. I had a busy morning. I had a GA game, which we got hammered by 20 odd points. To our UK listeners, it's like losing like 6-0. Followed by the captain's prize, where I was about 25 over par.
Golf for those who don't know.
Yeah, so really bad. Again, the equivalent of losing about 10-0. So then I was on the course and I turned on the Liverpool game, and I was like kind of watching it between shots, and I was like, Jamie, it seems like every time Liverpool just keep having chances, and then the graphic came up like after like 20 minutes or whatever. Liverpool chances 12, Leeds chances 1. And I was like, this is bad. So when I finished 3-0, I didn't have the heart to go back and watch the entire game. So anyone looking for hard-hitting analysis of this game, I don't think Leeds fans really want that,
No.
to be honest, after this game. But yeah, I think if you look at the game last year where it was 4-3, Liverpool probably were the much better team, and then Leeds just had a bit of magic. And then we sort of caught them in a bit of a slump when it was 0-0, and Leeds were firing on all cylinders. And then this one was just a good Liverpool side against a team that just hasn't found their feet this season. Just seemed like they're outmatched everywhere, and just little mistakes all over the field where you see a Bielsa team, when they make a mistake, it's so easy to concede a goal, especially when you're playing in the Premier League against a team that has Mane and Salah and Jota and whoever else you want to add into it.
Yeah, I think that was really the crux of it. I mean, Mane had about 10 chances before he eventually did score. A couple of them were just gilt edge as well. He really, really should have done better. But, I mean, it wasn't great from a Leeds perspective. It felt like every time Liverpool kind of went forward, it looked like they were gonna grab a goal. You see, the thing is though, it could have been a different game, because if Rodrigo scores that early chance where he smacks it straight at the keeper, and for me that was poor, because Rodrigo's a player of such quality that you'd imagine. I mean, he should be the kind of player who knows to stick that in the corner. Don't give the keeper a chance, but he really just tried to. I think it was kind of a head down, level it type thing, and Alisson made it. I mean, it was a pretty simple stop for a player of his quality. But yeah, look, Liverpool are a great side. I think there's no question about it. They'll be right up there again this season. I think it's a good point that you make last season, that Leeds kind of caught them in a bit of bad form. Obviously, they had about, I don't even think they had about half a centre back fit for that game against Leeds the second time. So that last season was a little bit of an anomaly per se. They're much better now. They're back to form. Like a player like Mo Salah, you can't give him the space that Leeds kind of did give him. He's going to punish you. Trent was excellent as well, I suppose, on the right as well. He set up Salah's first goal. Jota caused problems. They're just a team that are going to cause better teams than Leeds a lot of problems too. So it's not, for me anyway, it's not not a hugely worrying trend. I mean, it is just could it probably just be a case, as I said earlier, of just Liverpool just being a better team, and Leeds just
they haven't hit goal, though. The first goal, not really. It was worrying.
I think I watched it again today, and I think Salah gives it. Doesn't Salah get it? Gives it, I think, to Jota. Jota gives it out to Trent, and then it goes in from Trent, and Salah scores. And Salah's just not really tracked, is he? I mean, it's just.
But I think there's two problems there, where I'm like, if there was one mistake there, I'd be like, it's a little mistake, because the ball is given to Trent, and kind of Firpo just stands off him And I know the fact that you obviously can't overly commit and that Trent can just take it by or whatever. But like he gives him space. He's either just outside the box or just inside the box. I can't quite remember. But he gives him so much space. And someone like Trent, like he only needs half a yard, let
Yeah,
alone even 3 or 4 yards, like by the football cliche corridor of uncertainty.
yeah,
So like that tackled with the fact that like Salah gives the ball and then he's just sort of like let have free reign. And like if it was one or the other, you'd be like, okay, well they'd look at it and it's like you have to track Salah or you have to close down Trent. Because the two of them exist at the same time, I was like, wow, they're really just bad at defending.
yeah. It's tough. It definitely is, especially when you got like the way Leeds play that one-on-one defending against players of such quality like that. If one of them gets caught out, it kind of kills the whole thing. Second goal was a bit disappointing, I suppose, too. I mean, I don't want to call it a bad slice of luck, but like it was just messy, wasn't it? Really, I mean, Fabinho kind of just
It was very similar to the Burnley goal.
yeah, you're kind of just yeah. Is it a case of
Is there a
like
trend there? Like it looks like maybe it is just 2 bits of bad luck in 2 weeks, but it's just like, Jesus, how can like they keep not just putting the boot through it?
yeah, yeah? That was I suppose that one was worrying. Third goal was just a case of it was coming. I actually think they probably got a little bit better. I mean, I think they started the game quite well. Then first goal goes in and it kind of changes it a bit. Then second goal goes in and you're thinking, okay, this is game over. I think after the red card, they kind of improved a little bit. We'll talk about the third goal first before we talk about the red card. The red card, it was one that was always coming, and I think it was just quality from Mane. I mean, he had like I think Jota was there too. They were nearly lining up to score at that stage, and the game was essentially done. But if we go on to the red card, that's kind of been the talking point from the game, really. Um, for me, well, I mean, I think that the general consensus, I think from everyone but the FA, is that it wasn't a red card. Obviously, it's so disappointing to see a player as good as and like whatever about Liverpool fans and the banter and stuff. Harvey Elliott is a great player. There's no question about it. He is a brilliant player. He's only 18 and he was lively against Leeds as well. I don't think it was his best performance of the season from what I've seen, but he was lively. Whenever he gets on the ball, he looks like he's going to make something happen. And for him to go down with such a bad injury, it's obviously disappointing. And I think the news is quite good. He's going to play again before the end of the season, apparently, which is great. But I mean, there's no way this is a red card. I can, you see, for me, it's a bit of a double-edged sword because I know why he gives the red card, and it's very similar, I think, to the. Is it the? There was a Sun one. I'm not sure if it was Sun or there was another game anyway last season where there was a red card because of the injury and not because of the actual tackle. Like the referee didn't even give a foul at the time, so it's one of those where you're kind of looking at it and you're going, well, I can see why it's a red because the injury is so severe to Elliott and like it's kind of like the referee feels he has to nearly justify it with a red card. But even if it is that, I don't see how the appeal doesn't hold up because the ref, as I said, doesn't give a foul at the time. And I mean, there was nothing in it. And I think Bielsa spoke today at his press conference, or sorry, today being Thursday. Bielsa spoke on Thursday about in his press conference about it just kind of being one of those things. And even Harvey Elliott on his Instagram said that Pascal Struijk was he said he was unlucky, or he said something like it's not fair or something along those lines. Radrizzini said it too. Now that's obviously going to be a bias, but how did you see it? Because for me, I mean, it was just an inconspicuous enough incident. Obviously, players' reaction to it led it to being a huge thing, and the injuries, terrible things like that. But from looking at it in real time, you don't even think it's a foul, really. I mean,
I had to like and like this is the thing. I don't really want to be going and constantly looking at a video of a fella breaking his ankle. Like and obviously repeat what you said about hopefully he gets back quick enough, etc., etc. But like I watched the I watched the video. My first reaction was like, oh, so Strike must like lunge in now after this tackle, thinking that there was something afterwards.
yeah,
I was just kind of like, is that not a good tackle? Like, did he play advantage? Like, did he give it as a foul?
no, I don't even think he didn't even give it as a foul. No, he just let it play because he kind of Struijk kind of gets. I don't know if he gets the ball. What he catches Elliott is with the trailing leg. Anyway, he doesn't even
Yeah.
catch him with the leg that he goes for the tackle with. So it's a complete it's a like a tangling of legs more so than anything really that kind of causes the injury. But to be fair to Liverpool fans, I don't think I've seen many kind of being like, oh yeah, it was a terrible thing. Like I think Liverpool fans are probably of the same opinion too that like it's probably not a red card really. And I didn't really see. I don't think Klopp came out either and kind of
So,
that no one really from the Liverpool side.
Klopp has sort of come out though all the season basically talking about these sort of tackles.
Yeah.
But he hasn't. I don't think he's specifically gone about this tackle, but he probably will do it. I told you so. Now you do have to, with regards to Liverpool fans, if you go through enough Twitter and like little anecdote here, I swear I'm not a complete Twitter sleuth where I go through every comment section ever, but there was like the Athletic had put up that Leeds were appealing, obviously before the appeal got rejected, and some Liverpool fan was going on this big rant about how it was so dangerous and all that, and I sort of screenshotted the Harvey Elliott comment where he's defending Struijk, and your man had about 6 or 8 tweets where he went and deleted each and every one afterwards.
Yeah.
Because if the player who's lying in hospital is like, that was completely fair. Like Harvey Elliott is apologizing to Pascal Struijk more than Pascal Struijk is apologizing to Harvey Elliott right now, because he's just like, I'm sorry that you're the one getting banned here, because this is like, it wasn't your fault. It was a perfectly good tackle. And like, I feel a little bit dirty having to be like, oh, our player is getting banned for 3 games. How unfair, when there's another player who has a broken ankle. But it's just the fact that I was just like, there's nothing wrong with that tackle. And now Leeds, we'll get back. I'm sure we'll touch on the centre back depth now, previewing the Newcastle game. But again, Leeds are left without a centre back for when they should have one of their centre backs available to play for next 3 games.
Yeah, it was just a messy situation, and I think, actually no, not even a messy situation, just one that really the FA, I suppose, can be responsible for, because both sets of fans seem fine with it. Both players are kind of fine with the idea that it wasn't a foul, and well, hopefully Harvey Elliott comes back. He will be back by the end of the season. I think it was a.
Sorry, go on.
No. I was just going to say, I think it was a dislocated ankle. I think that's the actual injury, but.
I was just going to say though, it takes a lot for Bielsa to ever kind of speak out against the decision, and he hasn't quite gone there. But you could see, or not, you could sort of tell in his press conference that like he's scratching his head at the decision, and he would, even when you know that he really wants to give out about something, he'll always sort of restrain himself and try and respect the referee decision. And I think this time even he's a bit at a loss for things to say.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go into Newcastle now, and you touched on it there. We might as well talk about it. For me, anyway, one of the big stories. Like, there's actually, to be fair, there's plenty of storylines actually coming into this game, and I think Leeds Newcastle is. I know Newcastle aren't quite the powerhouses that they once were. Still a massive club, still one club city in a way, very similar to Leeds, massive stadium, similar to Leeds. So I think this is quite a big game. Let's first go on with the centre back depth. Obviously, Struijk is not fit. Obviously Struijk is banned. Llorente is not fit. Robin Koch is not fit. Cooper's there. Who partners Cooper? Because this seems like, we spoke about this off air, not a worrying trend, but it's just so unlucky that like so many good centre halves, like that's a good 4 in terms of depth for centre halves. Yet we're reduced now to what seems like it's probably going to be Liam Cooper and Luke Ayling, who's a right back playing centre back.
Yeah, probably. Unless
I'm trying to think of other options. And I mean,
the only one that I was thinking, and I think it would have been, but it's not available now, is that Calvin Phillips would have went there and Forshaw. But I think Forshaw's ruled out as well, isn't he?
Forshaw's out too. Yeah,
so, out too. And like anytime you've tried to take Calvin there and put someone like Click and Calvin's, because this happened at some point last year, where I think they put Calvin Phillips and then they put Click in that position, and it was a bit of a disaster. Like, so it's probably going to be Luke Ayling and Callum Wilson.
You're not gone on Luke Ayling, a centre half.
No, because I thought there was it Villa where he started and it was 3-0. He had a great game. And then he was there was multiple games last year where he was poor. They were just defensively, like stuff like the tracking the different runners and that, and just there was so many goals came off him. And I'm not having a go at Luke Ayling here. I love Luke Ayling. I love him in right back. But he's not a centre half. I'm sure he'll tell you he's not a centre half. He doesn't want to be playing centre half. No one wants him to be playing centre half. So I just think it could be a disaster. Like, thankfully, Newcastle aren't a team that you think are going to score or have a load of chances against you. So if they can just hold firm, but it is not going to be pretty. If you have Liam Cooper, who I think we can agree is not in the greatest form of his Leeds career at the moment, and touch wood, he bounces back. And I think if there is someone that you would back, it's Liam Cooper, who's probably has a great inner self-belief, given that he was called League One Liam and is a Premier League captain. But I just think it's a partnership that I don't think any Leeds fan is going to be comfortable with.
Yeah, it's not ideal, really. And I think just don't want to kind of go too deep into this, but like when Ayling plays right back, you miss, or sorry, when Ayling plays centre half, you miss him at right back, you miss him overlapping there because he's always there. One of those players that you kind of look, if you're a winger, if you're on that right side, you look to your right, and there's Luke Ayling all the time as an option there. So yeah, it's not ideal. Not quite a relegation clash, but we only have 2 points. They only have 1 point. They've actually scored one more goal than us, conceded one more goal than us as well. We need to win this game, I think. I really do.
I think that a podcast in 2 weeks' time, we could be a lot less doom and gloom if they win this well, 2-0. You're like breath of relief. You have the Fulham game where you're thinking they should win that, and then it's Norwich afterwards. You go and you win that.
I actually think it's West. Last week, I don't know why I had it in my head that Norwich was coming up so soon. I don't know why that was in my head, but yeah, it's Fulham in the cup, and then West Ham is the week after.
Okay,
yeah.
So if you do go and then you build on against a win against West Ham, you're talking about this. But if you don't get a win here, and then you're going into cup, you suddenly get dumped out of cup, or the cup is sort of irrelevant then, and then you're going to like West Ham, who were very good last year. Leeds lost twice to them. You're getting a little worried there, and that thing just kind of feeds in, and you're like, when's that first win gonna come? But I don't think the Leeds squad themselves would be too worried. But I think as fans, we want to see a win, especially just that in the running last year, we were so used to them winning, and now we're like, when's the win gonna come? But like, we could be overreacting a little bit. Like, fair enough, they 2 weapons from 2 teams that see themselves as title contenders. Everton, who looked pretty good early on, really should have beaten them, and then Burnley was bad performance. Yeah,
that's exactly it. Like, you look at the Burnley game, you think, well, they played so badly and they still got a draw, so not the end of the world. Everton good side, and then Liverpool United, probably anomaly. So yeah, I don't think it's too much of a cause for concern, but I think a win is definitely needed. And like a win as well, it takes you up to what, 11th, 10th ish. That's kind of, I know obviously it's way too early to be looking at the league table and stuff like that, but it's probably where Leeds want to be.
For your own mental health, if you see them
of
win and you're like, geez, it was a bad start, and teams have to play on Saturday, but they're sitting there 10th or 11th, haven't been as bad as they could be. You're probably like, oh yeah, this is actually fine. But who,
exactly.
like, if you were to rattle off a starting 11, like, who would you be looking at there?
Yeah, well, you're probably going. Well, you're going Meslier in goal, and you're going Firpo, Ayling, Cooper. You're probably putting. Are you putting Shackleton right back so you can keep Dallas? I think Shackleton comes in, but I don't know where he comes in. He probably either goes midfield or right back. So you probably go Shackleton right back. Then you go Dallas, Phillips. We're talking about Rodrigo now, I suppose. And we'll go through the team and then we'll come back to Rodrigo. I'd probably go Rodrigo, Bamford, Harris, and Rafinha. Let's talk a little bit though about Rodrigo, since we're on the topic, because I know Phil Hay had a piece yesterday speaking about Rodrigo. There was a bit in it where he mentioned that Barcelona actually tried to take Rodrigo on loan at the end of the transfer window, was unsuccessful because Bielsa wants to keep him. There's this kind of talk about this not stubbornness, but kind of willing to keep at it and hope it clicks, kind of in a similar vein to Bamford. Obviously, it did click with Bamford. We spoke about Rodrigo, I think, 2 weeks ago on the pod, and we kind of said like he's I think every Leeds fan's kind of a similar opinion, where he just is yet to kind of really click into gear. Looked like he was about to hit form last season. Scored that 2 goals against Burnley. I know he bagged, I think, against Spurs too. And it looked like he was really starting to hit form. And then maybe it was at the end of the season or COVID. He's been really stop-start. But what do you see in Rodrigo? Is it a case of it's gonna come, or is it a case of we've wasted 27 million?
I don't know. See, it's annoying because you see, even against Burnley, right, you could kind of see when, like, out of nothing, they could kind of spark attacks, him and Rafinha, and just, like, his general quality, like, not really quantifiable, but, like, how he, sometimes when the ball goes to someone like Bamford, and, like, or, like, even when the ball comes to you in 5, it's like, not you in particular, but
that was a dig. That was a dig.
Well,
I get that.
the average probably you and me, and we're not great at like positioning ourselves to actually get the ball. It's like this foreign concept to us of like, how do we do it? And like obviously a much lesser extent when it goes to someone like Bamford, half the time the ball kind of bounces off him. Whereas like Rodrigo, you're like, oh, the ball sticks to him. You can give it to him at any angle, and he can kind of tend to take it down and deal with it and look like a proper footballer. But like in terms of actually what he's done in the system, it's been very, very limited. And like as a 10, it's been very, very limited. So, but then like, what's your other option? It's him or Click, really, or it's putting him in up front instead of Bamford, which Bamford absolutely does not deserve to be dropped. He's been, a great player under Bielsa. So I suppose. And then the thing is, if he's on the bench, you're never more valuable than when you're not playing. And it's like, why isn't there club record signing playing for us? So I suppose you just got to keep persevering and just hope with because he hasn't really got a good run at it. Like he came in, he got COVID, he was injured, he's this and that and the other. So you just kind of hope and he just does have quality, but just it does feel like the game passing by sometimes.
Yeah, it's a difficult one for Rodrigo, really. Like you said it there, and he does. He passes the eye test. I think is the not the main thing, but I mean, every time you see him play, it does look like he's actually. Apologies, I'm trying to look up Rodrigo to see how many games in a row Rodrigo's played, but he passes the eye test. No question about it. He looks so good when he's on the ball, and he looks like he has that little bit of spark that can make something happen, but it just hasn't really clicked for him. I'm confident that because like a player of that quality, like he's the Spanish international, Spain's number 9. I mean, okay, he wasn't at the Euros just for injury reasons, things like that for him, but like a player like that doesn't just lose quality. I think he'll come good at some stage. I think Bielsa has enough faith in him that it will happen. So let's just briefly look at Newcastle. Yeah, Callum Wilson you mentioned is out injured. I thought from what I've seen of them against Manchester United, they looked a little bit lively though. I mean, Almiron is a good player. I think he was looking to make stuff happen. Obviously, Alan Saint-Maximin is excellent. He's kind of the one to watch, really, isn't he? I mean, I think not to say that I've seen Newcastle all that much this season, but he's the X factor really that they have, and the way Leeds play that one-on-one defending. If Saint-Maximin gets someone one-on-one, he gets a Liam Cooper one-on-one, even like a Junior Firpo one-on-one. Not too keen on something like that in terms of a battle, but I think up front is probably where they're going to lack. I mean, they'll probably play Joe Linton instead of Callum Wilson, or unless they go Saint-Maximin as the 9. But I don't think he's that well suited for that. I think he's better out wide. Like that's where you're probably going to look at Newcastle and think that's where they have weakness in terms of actually putting the ball in the back of the net. Defensively, they've conceded 12 goals too. So I mean, they've actually scored more goals than Leeds. So hard to really say that one. But defensively, yeah, not too great. So I would be hoping for a win in this game. I think you'd probably be the same. Quick score prediction before I move on to Fulham.
Gonna go 3-1.
3-1. I'll take that. To be fair, I'd take any kind of win at this stage.
Yeah.
2-1 last season and 5-2 last season. Both wins. You'll remember the 5-2. Jack Harrison scored a cracker. Leeds played Leeds did play very well in the last like 20 minutes or so of that game. I think they kind of blitzed them.
They went down twice, didn't they?
They did, because Jeff Hendry scored, and I remember thinking, oh no, things are bad.
As well.
He did. Yeah, he actually did. Good memory. And I think there was another very good goal in that game. Can't quite remember. Anyway, it was 2 wins. Could have been Alioski, yeah. Could have been. Anyway, 2 wins, that's the most important thing. Let's move on to Fulham in the Cup. Good to see. Not good to see. I was going to say good to see Fulham again. Good to not have to play Fulham again in the Premier League or in any kind of league, because
I'm going to cut across. I'm not going to say good to not play them. Good to not worry about them, because all we've had to do is worry about Fulham.
Yeah, that's very true.
We can't beat them.
That's very true. It seems like in the Championship it was always a case of Leeds are playing well. Oh no, they're playing Fulham this week, and then that's going to end in tears. Last season, Leeds beat Fulham twice, but to be fair to Fulham, they put it up to Leeds. They did go down fighting in the end last season, and crucially, they actually kept quite a good bit. And I was doing a little bit on Fulham earlier, and they're top of the Championship. They've won 7. They've played 7, won 5, drew 1, lost 1. They beat Birmingham last Wednesday night 4-1. They've got Mitrovic, who scored 6 goals in 7 games. They've got Harry Wilson, who's flying. This is a tricky one, and this is a tricky one if Leeds don't get a result against Newcastle. It's especially tricky. You kind of mentioned it earlier, but Fulham will have their tails up, no question about it, because they're flying at the moment under Marco Silva, top of the championship. If Leeds don't get a good result against Newcastle, they're going to kind of be a little, maybe confidence is not up. Bielsa's probably going to play quite a strong side in this, and we'll get into the cup and things like that. For me, this could be a tough one. I think either way, it's probably a tough one. Like it's probably better than playing a Premier League side just by design, but I mean, it's still a challenging game because Fulham are in form, and if Leeds don't go out and dust Newcastle, I think Fulham are going to fancy the chances either way, but Leeds are going to need a win, and this is a tough game. I think this is a tough game.
Yeah, no, I pretty much agree with everything you have to say. Like, I don't have too much to add. Like, you have a Leeds team that are not in the height of their powers, a Fulham team that are definitely beating themselves, and then a Fulham team who, you know, have been caused a good bit of pain by Leeds the last couple of years, who will really want to beat Leeds, whereas Leeds, it just feels like they're struggling to kind of get up for it now. So if you have a team at home that's up for it and in good form against a team that aren't up for it, aren't in good form, and struggle to score against Crew for 80 odd minutes, like could be a long night. But as I did say though, if you beat Newcastle, you beat them well, you go and you beat Fulham in the cup, you're feeling pretty good about your season. And like we touched on it before the Crew game, how like a cup run would be nice, especially kind of we went into the season rightly or wrongly thinking, how last season ended, that top six was a real possibility, and maybe even more. Some people might have thought with how we ended the season, and like our expectations have sort of been dampened. So cup run would maybe fill that void, because like I'm not sure in our lifetime, we're only young whippersnappers, have we really seen much of a cup run? Like we haven't. As much as we say like about the 2010 and 2011 where you beat United and against Arsenal and Spurs, and they were in cup runs. You got to the fourth round of the FA Cup and you started in the third. So it'd be nice to see them go through a few games, and I think the players could do with playing a few games together, because the machine doesn't seem to be well oiled at the moment. So I'd say they're viewing it as much as getting more minutes under their belt as anything else. And also, I think Dan James might get 90 minutes in that game as well.
Yeah, it's a good point on James. I actually never thought of that. That'd be nice to see him get a good run out. I think 96 League Cup final against Aston Villa was the only time. I mean, obviously that doesn't count for us because I was one. Were you even alive? Probably not.
Not alive. No.
So that doesn't really count. But no, it's a good point. Like, and I think it's true as well. Like a nice cup run would really do. I mean, it's not something that Leeds have had under Bielsa. We spoke about it earlier. I mean, we spoke about it on a previous episode. Like last season, there was this Crawley loss. There was the loss to Newport County, I think, a couple of seasons ago. They lost to Stoke on penalties. I think was that last season as well. In another
Hull year.
Hull. Yeah, sorry, Hull. My mistake. Hull. Yeah, in the League Cup. So like Bielsa's kind of cup runs have not. It hasn't really been a staple, or it hasn't been a thing really under Bielsa. So I think that would be a nice way to offset, as you said, kind of the dampening of expectations for the season. Really. Before we move on, I think they're going to be pretty strong. What do you think? Because he was strong. They were strong against Crew, and I think, well, I suppose you probably already mentioned it though, but we'll keep going. I'll kind of expand on it. It is important to get like these players actually playing games, isn't it? And getting more minutes under their belt, really, essentially, and trying to get the machine to click better and better as the games go on. So as much as I would like to see like a lot of young players like Iman Somerville, obviously Gelhardt is there, Greenwood, there's a lot of young talent there, but I think it's more important to and I think Bielsa probably have a similar mindset when you consider the team he played against Crew. It's more important to actually get players, to give players minutes and to give them confidence and to get the kind of machine rolling again as it was last season.
Is Struijk's, I assume one of his 3 matches is this cup game though, is it?
I'm not sure, but I'm not sure.
Because that would be convenient actually. You'd be like, so he'd only be missing Newcastle
and then West Ham.
Cup and the West Ham. That'd be all right. But yeah, he could probably start definitely someone in centre back anyway, because and then like I think Shackleton will get a lot of minutes in the next week. James will play that. I'd say like all the kind of first team players will get a lot of minutes. You could see like if Click doesn't play against Newcastle, he's going to play the full game against Fulham, stuff like that. I don't know what the status is of if you're like how long term Cock or Lorente or stuff like that is. If they're just kind of niggles, you could see them coming in and getting 45 minutes. Same way, because he said Forshaw will be back next week, so I wouldn't be surprised if I saw him get a run out, stuff like that. But like they don't have the depth to just like not play a lot of star players. Like you could see Jack Harrison playing. I don't think Rafinha's going to play. I'd say you might give him a bit of a rest.
Throw Dan James, Tyler Roberts, maybe like them playing, but it'll still probably be pretty strong. So fingers crossed we'll look back next week with 2 victories. That's Fulham is Tuesday and Newcastle is tomorrow night. So moving nicely on.
For our listeners,
sorry, tonight. Good, well put. But that's professional. That's a professional shout from yourself. Yes, Newcastle is tonight, Friday night, 8:00. Speaking of tonight, Friday night, 8:00. Who's back of the week? Let's move nicely onto that. Got a few nice options here. We were a bit stuck last week, but actually, who's back of the week is who's back of the week, really, isn't it? Like, we're back with options. We've got way more options.
Yeah. That's not the winner, though.
No, that's not the winner. That was some Inception shit there, but that's not the winner. No. So let's go through a few options. Who's back of the week?
Are we saving the best one to last? I think
so. Okay, say the best one. All right, let's go. Okay, say the best one to last. Right, I'll start. We'll leave the best one, right? So I'll start. Mo Salah, absolutely doing us. That was back.
That's very.
He's actually to be fair, he's so good. Like, is he under? I don't want to get into a Liverpool podcast, but is he underrated?
So that is a good sort of because if you were talking about like a Premier League all-time 11, people would instinctively say like Shearer, Henry, and then like Aguero, and now it's like Salah is very much in that category. I mean, he's won a league. I think that was his 100th Premier League goal. Feels like he literally only came into the league a couple of seasons ago. Now I think it's 4 or 5 seasons. Crazy good. The reason, like, as much as we're giving out about players not tracking them and all, like, that man just has that ability to do it. And, like, he scored a hat-trick against his first game of the year last season. Now, I think was it 1 or 2 of them were penalties, but still, he's just very, very good at putting that ball into the net, which is pretty useful in this game.
Yeah, whenever he got on the ball, I was sweating. He's so good. He was just walking past players. I mean, he gets a bit of stick sometimes for not like people being like, oh, he doesn't contribute that often to the game. I think he kind of does. Whenever he gets on the ball, he makes something happen. Also, he has didn't he score the most goals in Premier League? Like him and Shearer joined for most goals in a season, like 3 or something. Maybe it was more. Maybe he got more. Anyway, so Mo Salah. So basically, my first option for who's back of the week is Mo Salah absolutely destroying Leeds.
I am going with, and I've touched on before, Leeds panic. Leeds anxiety. We thought we got rid of it after the nice run in last year, but no. Will we survive? Are we destined to go back to the Sky Bet? Are we just going to be a laughing stock all year against the big teams? So haven't had an enjoyable weekend now this season thus far, and we're quickly approaching October. So Leeds panic is very much back.
Yes, I don't like that one being back.
As much as we're trying to, but it's still there. Don't tell me it's not a little bit in your brain.
Oh, it is. Oh, fully, yeah. Seeing 17th and 0 wins. I know it's only 4 games, but it still doesn't look very nice. When you have to scroll down on the league table.
Last season, though, they were sort of similar. Were they not at points? Like
I don't know if it was that early because they started off quite well, didn't they? Remember there was like talk of like top 6 after like the first 4 or 5 games. I think they were pretty, but they dropped down around. I don't think they dropped as low as like 17. I think
there was one point where they were like 15th,
13th,
and then they climbed up. So okay, we'll close on the PT. It's PT.
Oh no, it's a viable option though. I will give you that. Leeds anxiety being back is an option. Okay, so my second option is everyone hates us again, kind of. I mean, the Struijk red card, okay, maybe wasn't necessarily a case of dirty Leeds, but Leeds were kind of, the Leeds fans were getting a little bit of stick for kind of a bit of shouting, a bit of chanting as apparently, I didn't really hear it now. It's from what I've seen, the Leeds fans are pretty respectful when Harvey Elliott was coming off. But yeah, there's the Struijk red card. I think suddenly we're not necessarily that babyface, to use a wrestling term, that we were last season.
Yeah,
I mean, Gary Neville hasn't fawned over us in at least a month or more, and I'm not. I don't know. Am I happy with it? Maybe. Are we back? Maybe.
it is a bit like, and to use it's more, people get sick of you real soon. So even stuff like you see like the Limerick hurlers have won their third All Ireland in 4 or 5 years, and people are now sick of them. Like, whereas they were these golden team, we were that last year. We were everyone's second team. The fans are back. They're back being loud. Leeds aren't winning anymore, and everyone is back to hating us. Dirty Leeds. I don't know.
Exactly
they were slightly better this year, but like, I don't know. This might suit us. Like, come the end of the season, if we claw our way back, because the second season syndrome talk is gonna keep coming. So we can claw our way back now and be dirty along the way. That's where we want to be. The bad guys.
Yes. Either die a hero. No, what is it? Yeah. Either no. What is that saying? Either die a hero. I'll get it. Either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. That's it. Shout out Harvey Dent. Shout out Harvey Dent. Great film. But okay, let's move on to our last one. This has got to be the win. I mean, this is going to win. This has to win.
Well, the Who's back of the week. The Who's back of the week.
That's going to absolutely destroy the audio and editing. Doesn't matter. Anyway,
that's not keyboards. That is, the lads are back in the Camden. In the Camden, drinking pints, eating food. We're going to be there with our old lads. We've had some great occasions. Also, some not great occasions, not through the fault of the Camden, through the Leeds results. The Camden is a great place, very hospitable to Leeds fans. People flock there in their numbers in their white jerseys. The staff are always great. There's always a great atmosphere.
This isn't a shameless plug, by the way. Not at all. Not at all.
No. We're not going to tag the Camden on Twitter right now.
No, we are not. No. But in all seriousness, though, it is great to be back watching Leeds amongst other Leeds fans. Obviously, being in Ireland, it's not like we can go there every week and watch them at Ellen Road or anything like that. But it is great to be able to have the opportunity to watch Leeds with fellow Leeds fans in a place that has kind of become like a hub for Leeds fans. Really, I know you spoke about it there. We've been a few times, haven't been too recently just because of COVID and things like that. But last season or a couple of seasons ago. Actually, we did go last season. No, we went a couple of seasons ago because pubs were closed. But always a great atmosphere. Plenty of Leeds fans around, and yeah, they blare marching on together as well when Leeds get a result. So that's good. That's whether they'll still do it now.
Because I think we were there for when they were 2-0 down to Millwall, when they won 3-2, the place was electric. And I think we were there for like a 0-0 against Luton, which was, less than ideal. But as I said, the Camden, that wasn't their fault. They were happy enough to put it on LUTV and everything for us. And so hopefully now, because I think I get the feeling that they, as a place, kind of were surprised when they opened up, that like obviously expecting United and Liverpool, and they'll kind of go anywhere. But for like Leeds to find a place and descend on it and make it their home and just regularly keep coming back, I think that they were probably like a good bit surprised by how much support there was. And like Leeds fans are always crying out for a hub to watch the game. Like, so like there was always a couple of different places, and like now it's like, okay, the Camden, when it's televised, are going to show, and that's where Leeds fans are going to flock. And I know a few supporter groups have been encouraging, and they're constantly in contact with the Camden, and they're always quite accommodating. So if any Leeds fans here are looking for somewhere to watch the game, we're not getting paid for this, by the way. Or
we're actually not.
Genuine fans of the Camden.
This is the first time I've been able to put my digital marketing degree into practice. This is me marketing for the Camden for free, completely. But no, as I said, in all seriousness, great place to watch the game. We'll be there tomorrow night. And congratulations to the Camden congratulations to drinking with other Leeds fans. Is that right for Who's Back of the Week? Just drinking with other Leeds fans, or just being in the presence of other Leeds fans?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. Again, that's not like a sentient being, so we can't give that a trophy. But if you, Camden, if you want one, we can send it.
You can
Suppose.
send them to you.
We'll be there. I don't know what you want, but we can send something to you. So another Who's Back of the Week winner. That's 4. We've got 4 Who's Backs of the Week. Can you name them all? Quick. Adam Forshaw, Calvin Phillips. No, Dan James. I can't remember what was last. International breaks being terrible and drinking Leeds fans. There you go. So that's Who's Back of the Week. That's our episode, folks. Got through plenty there. In fairness, pretty packed week for Leeds, really, isn't it? Like 2 games. First time they've had 2 games. No, sorry, that crew. First time they've had 2 games that we've covered the podcast, and we missed the first week, but that'll be pretty exciting. So we'll be back again next Friday, where we will be previewing what is the West Ham game, which probably be a challenge, but hopefully we'll be going into it with 2 wins. Said that about last week. Hopefully we're going into it with winning against Liverpool. It didn't quite happen, but fingers crossed this week. We'll have a good time tonight in the Camden. Hopefully we'll watch a victory over Newcastle. Hopefully we'll watch a win against Fulham. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the Murderball Breakdown on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and also on YouTube. That is through Breakdown Inc., where you can watch video of this and all our other podcasts. And any Celtic fans as well who might happen to be listening, if you are a Celtic and a Leeds fan, brilliant. If you like just Celtic, brilliant. If you like just Leeds, brilliant. You can watch all videos on the Huddle Breakdowns YouTube channel. So thanks again for joining us, and we will catch you next week.